Emotional intelligence is a skill that helps you navigate conversations and relationships of all kinds with ease, and it also allows you to read between the lines and understand people's nonverbal cues. But what about when EQ is, well, missing? Sometimes it's not the grand gesture, but the everyday phrases that can reveal a lack of emotional intelligence. Certain things that people say, often without a second thought, can have a pretty hefty impact on those around them. Let's go over some phrases that just might slip from the tongue of those who haven't quite mastered the art of EQ. Number 1. I'm not trying to be rude, but. You know when someone starts a sentence like this, the but is a flashing neon sign that a zinger is coming your way. It's like that little disclaimer is supposed to act like a cushion from the blow. But let's get real. No one ever followed "I'm not trying to be rude" with "You're a wonderful person and I love your shoes." It's more like a heads up that they've got their honesty gloves on and are about to be a jerk. A person with a bit more EQ would skip the disclaimer and find a kinder, more direct way to say what's on their mind. Number 2, you're being too sensitive. This one's a classic. It's like when someone steps on your toes and then blames you for having feet. It's a go-to phrase for people who might not get that different folks have different sensitivity settings. Emotional intelligence is about understanding that everyone's feelings are their feelings, no right or wrong about it. If someone's hurt, telling them they're too sensitive is basically saying their emotional thermostat is off, when really we should be checking our own. Number 3, it's just a joke. The trusty old just a joke defense. People who lack emotional intelligence love to use it. It's the verbal version of a crank buzzer handshake. Do people still use those things anymore? Sure, it's meant to be funny, but someone still ends up feeling a bit zapped. When people throw this phrase around, they might not realize that humor can sting, especially if it's at someone else's expense. Those with more EQ on their dashboard would gauge the humor's impact before letting it fly, making sure the laughter is shared, not one-sided. Number 4, you always or you never talk about painting with a broad brush. Using always and never is like saying someone's one color all the time when we're all more like rainbows, right? It can feel like an unfair generalization, and it rarely leads to a productive chat. People with a keen sense of EQ would more likely point out specific instances instead of turning it into an all or nothing kind of deal. It keeps things accurate and, let's face it, far less dramatic. Number 5, I don't care. Just 3 little words, but boy, can they pack a punch. It's like saying this conversation and your feelings are about as important to me as the gum on the bottom of my shoes. Ouch! When someone with solid emotional intelligence hits a point where they're struggling to invest in the topic, they might try, I see this is important to you. Let's find a way to address it, keeping the bridges unburned and the communication lines open. Number 6, that's not what I meant. This phrase is a classic backpedal, a quick step dance move away from responsibility. Picture this. You tell a friend something they find offensive, and then you drop the "it's not what I meant" card. It's like accidentally spilling coffee on someone and then saying, but I didn't mean to stain your shirt. Intentions aside, the shirt's still stained, right? Someone with a hefty dose of EQ might say, I'm sorry, that came out wrong. Let me explain better and own up to the misstep. It's about taking responsibility, not just dodging the blame. Number 7, calm down. If ever there was a phrase that achieved the exact opposite of its intentions, it's calm down. It's the verbal equivalent of trying to extinguish a fire with gasoline. Telling someone to calm down when they're upset is like telling them their feelings are over the top. Folks with emotional intelligence might instead offer a steadying hand with, I can see this is really upsetting you. Let's work through it together, which feels a whole lot more like a helping hand than a stop sign. Number 8, it doesn't matter. Imagine someone shares something that's important to them and you hit them with an "it doesn't matter." What they hear is, your thoughts or feelings aren't worth the time. Now, a person with high IQ might realize that even if it doesn't seem like a big deal to them, it's important to the other person. They might say, tell me more about why this matters to you, and give the other person's concerns the attention they deserve. Number 9, whatever. Whatever is like the eye roll of the verbal world. It screams, I'm over this conversation and your opinion doesn't really matter to me. It's a conversation ender, a door slammer, and it doesn't leave room for any kind of meaningful dialogue. A more emotionally intelligent response might be, I think we see things differently, but I'm listening, showing respect for the dialogue and the person you're speaking with. Number 10, I've had it worse. The misery competition, where your struggle is the grand prize nobody actually wants. When someone shares their hardship and you counter with, I've had it worse, it can feel dismissive. It's like saying their problems are lightweight and only the heavyweights count. Someone with a good grasp of emotional intelligence might say, I've been through something similar, and I understand how tough that can be, offering empathy instead of comparison. Stay safe, stay secure, and please read this entire article by Emma Mills at the following link. Remember to use your emotional intelligence before replying in any manner. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.